Hello, tankers and tankettes. It's World Tanks again, somehow. Twice in the same year. That is bizarre. I guess I noticed that, hey, there's Christmas stuff going on, so I've been logging in, and I got the Panzer IV F2 reward gift tank, whatever you want to call that, and I've just been playing a few other things in random battles as well, and one of them happened to be this game, which is going to be very, very campy, because it's a tank destroyer that doesn't have particularly good armour. It is top tier though, so that's alright, and this thing does have good mobility, which I like. This and the Jag Panther, I think, are probably my favourite tier 7 tank destroyers by far, just because they are quite speedy machines. They're both on medium tank chassis, of course, and they both have pretty good guns. This is also, fortunately, a map I'm familiar with, because I've ended up on a couple of maps where I just have no idea where to go. I don't know what half the opponents are. I don't know where to shoot them. But in this case, I think there's, two tanks I didn't especially recognise. The tier 6 tank destroyer, the Bozzotto, or whatever it's called, and the tier 7 tank destroyer, which is that Czech? I don't know, but the SMV or whatever it is. So yeah, it's largely a lineup that I do recognise. I know that my gun isn't really going to have any trouble with any of them, and I sort of roughly know where to go and sit in a tank destroyer. There's also a couple of things going on here as well, in that I've put some equipment on this that I hadn't really used previously. So I've got the camo net, which you can see there, which only activates when you're still. But I've also got the other camouflage equipment, which is like a perma bonus of, is it like 6%? 5%? Something like that. So they're both on there. It's not a super amazing crew or anything, but of course these days, even on a fairly unskilled crew, you still get 6 cents. I spoke about this in the previous video. That's just such a huge change to me, and it's amazing that it took so very, very long for it to happen. It is such a game changer, quite literally. It evens the playing field for everybody. You don't, like, even grinding a crew to a first skill, if you're only grinding, say, a couple of tanks and a couple of crews, okay, but if you have lots of tanks and lots of crews, it's a really, really time-consuming process if you're trying to do that. But no, I now have a whole lot of crews where it's freed up a crew skill for the commander, and a whole bunch of probably even more crews where they didn't even have a full crew skill, full first crew skill, which now have 6th sense as well. So yeah. Man, I don't know, it just seems so weird to me that it took so very long, but I am so glad it happened. So, yeah, as you can see, the top northwest corner is now being overrun, but this is one of those maps where there's a fair few spots for campy tank destroyers, and I do have the mobility to whiz around, and you keep seeing me pull back because I'm expecting to be spotted, but I'm not. It's just kind of reflexive habit from the days when you didn't know if you were spotted or not, which I wouldn't have with this crew previously. This is also where, and I don't know if this is a thing that's always been the case, and I'm just not really remembering, but the replay seems a lot more kind of jerky than I remember them being, a lot more kind of jittery. I don't know if it's just kind of like it wasn't my FPS, certainly. It wasn't having poor ping, as you can see. I don't know if it's just like the polling rate of the data, or whatever you'd call it, like how many intervals it's taking your data at, your movements and such through the replay to show what somebody is doing after they've done it. And is it lower than it used to be? Was it always this jittery? I don't know, but it was especially noticeable to me opening up this replay again, because I guess for World of Warships, like it might be exactly the same, and yet, of course, the moment to moment isn't quite as fluid in World of Warships, even though World of Warships obviously does involve some virtual fluid. But yeah, I don't know. It's just super noticeable when I'm moving the reticle around. Anyway, enough of that. I've got a bit of a shooting gallery going here, really. And the gun absolutely is able to punch through things without needing premium ammo. I mean, the Black Prince is probably by far the most well-armoured thing on the enemy team overall. But of course, there is the T25 turret. And I think I did briefly consider rushing down, using my mobility to go and finish off that Black Prince. But of course, the T25 is still there somewhere, and I don't know what health they are. But as it turns out, not very high health. As you can see, they're basically a one-shot. And I probably even could have tried to get with them with an HE shell if it was just them being turret down. But I figured side of the turret, you know, that was worth a shot. It unfortunately missed, and then they were more or less held down. So I don't know if this one, I don't think that hit. You saw the sort of flash coming up behind it. So yeah, but they're jockeying for a shot, and that then exposes their hull, at which point, well, there's not a lot of them left, and I'm now on my 5th kill, which is quite nice. So we've got Cromwell, who's up in the northeast corner. There was a Tiger that was trying to cap and got taken out by one of the... what is the SMV CC56? I have no clue. Is it Czech? I really don't know. But it seems to have... this one seems to have a decent enough driver to be... like, they're actually trying to defend. They're not running away to a corner or anything like that. The Cromwell surely would have the speed advantage. They do have the health to take a hit. But instead they try and climb the hill, which absolutely throws away all of their mobility advantage. They're on open terrain, and yeah, it's not really going to work out for them. They have spotted the artillery at least, but yeah, it was a poor move, I suppose. So we're now closing in on these last couple of tanks. Me and this FL10 do both have the hit points to be able to tank some damage, but we kind of need to stick together. Going in one at a time is probably not sensible. We don't have the artillery to worry about anymore. At least the FL10 got the kill, although I think the T37 managed to hit as well. And I think that T37, they must have done some decent spotting damage in this game. I didn't actually think to check that. But although if this were World of Warships, I'd be able to, at the end of the game, compliment them. And the FL10, I can't do that in World of Tanks for some reason, so... who knows? I don't know. Like, there's the complaint system just the same, but there's no positive karma system, which, again, I don't know why. Anyway, that SMV tries to run away, doesn't get very far because they run smack into me, and I can just pen them in the face, and I have the hit points to absorb the hits. No 6th kill for me, because we end up sandwiching them to death, which is part of the reason why I decided I was going to show this replay. It was a sort of vaguely amusing end. So that was 3,500 damage in the end. Not a mastery though, but it was a first class, which is not bad considering how rusty I am. But it was kind of a perfect setup for being a big shooting gallery at the end there. And both myself and the FL10 were able to take advantage of that. We also had a Cheeto with Cheeto SP. Is that a tank destroy version? I don't know. They did all right as well. So yeah, there are definitely some teammates that, you know, if I could have given them compliments, I would have given them compliments. But that just ain't a thing in World of Tanks because reasons. So I think I'll probably keep playing a little bit during December. I don't know if you'll see more replays from me, but you might, maybe. I guess we'll see. And they're also fairly quick to do as well, so they have that going for them. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this, and if you did, you can do all these usual things down underneath it. And of course, as always, stay tuned for more.